Learning to speak English fluently is one of the most challenging yet rewarding journeys you can embark upon. You've probably spent years studying grammar rules, memorizing vocabulary lists, and completing textbook exercises. Yet, when it comes to actual conversation, the words don't flow naturally. You find yourself translating in your head, struggling with pronunciation, and feeling frustrated by the gap between your written English and your speaking ability. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. And there's a powerful technique that can transform your English speaking skills faster than traditional methods: shadowing. What is the shadowing technique? Shadowing is a language learning method where you listen to English audio and immediately repeat what you hear, mimicking the speaker as closely as possible. Imagine a shadow following someone's movements. That's exactly what you're doing with speech. You're not just repeating words, you're copying the rhythm, intonation, speed, pronunciation, and even the emotional tone of native speakers. This technique originated in the field of simultaneous interpretation, where professional interpreters need to develop lightning-fast comprehension and speaking skills. Language acquisition researchers discovered that this method wasn't just useful for interpreters, it was incredibly effective for language learners at all levels. When you shadow, you're engaging multiple language skills simultaneously: listening, speaking, pronunciation, and intonation, all while absorbing natural language patterns. Unlike traditional repetition exercises, where you listen, pause, and then speak, shadowing requires you to speak almost simultaneously with the audio. This creates a unique cognitive challenge that forces your brain to process language more efficiently and naturally. You're training your mouth muscles, your ear for the language, and your brain's language processing sensors all at once. Why shadowing works: the science behind the method. Understanding why shadowing is so effective helps you appreciate its power and stay motivated during practice. Several cognitive and linguistic principles make this technique particularly powerful for language acquisition. Neuroplasticity and muscle memory. Your brain is remarkably adaptable, constantly forming new neural pathways based on repeated activities. When you shadow English speakers, you're creating and strengthening neural connections associated with English speech patterns. The more you practice, the more automatic these patterns become. Similarly, speaking involves physical muscle movements in your mouth, tongue, and throat. English uses muscle movements that might be very different from your native language. Shadowing trains these muscles to move in new ways, creating muscle memory for English pronunciation. Prosody and natural rhythm. One of the biggest challenges in speaking English naturally is mastering prosody, the rhythm, stress, and intonation patterns of the language. English is a stress-timed language, meaning certain syllables are emphasized while others are reduced. This creates a distinctive rhythm that makes English sound the way it is. Traditional learning methods often neglect prosody, focusing instead on individual words. Shadowing forces you to internalize these natural rhythms by copying them directly from native speakers. Input-output integration. Most language learning separates input, listening and reading, from output, speaking and writing. Shadowing uniquely combines these, creating a direct pathway from comprehension to production. This integration helps you internalize language patterns more deeply and retrieve them more quickly during actual conversations. You're not just understanding English, you're simultaneously producing it, which accelerates the learning process dramatically. Reduced translation time. When beginners speak English, they often translate from their native language, creating delays and awkward phrasing. Shadowing bypasses this translation step by training you to think directly in English. Since you're immediately repeating what you hear, there's no time for translation. Over time, this builds your capacity to process and produce English directly without the mental middleman of your first language. Getting started. Your first shadowing session. Ready to try shadowing? Here's how to structure your first practice session for maximum effectiveness. Choose the right material. Your choice of audio material is crucial, especially as a beginner. Look for audio that meets these criteria. Appropriate difficulty level. The content should be slightly challenging but mostly comprehensible. If you understand less than 60% of the content, it's probably too difficult. If you understand 95 to 100%, it might be too easy. The sweet spot is around 70 to 80% comprehension. Clear audio quality. Professional recordings with minimal background noise work best. Podcasts designed for English learners, audiobooks, TED Talks, and YouTube videos with clear audio are excellent choices. Native or near-native speakers. You want to model authentic English pronunciation and intonation, so choose speakers who sound natural and clear. Interesting content. You'll practice more consistently if the material genuinely interests you. Choose topics you enjoy, whether that's technology, cooking, sports, or storytelling. Appropriate length. Start with short clips of 1 to 2 minutes. As you improve, you can work with longer segments. For absolute beginners, consider English learning podcasts specifically designed for shadowing, children's audiobooks with simple vocabulary, slow-speed news broadcasts like VOA Learning English, and YouTube channels for English learners with clear, simplified speech. Set up your practice space. Create an environment conducive to focused practice. Minimize distractions. Find a quiet space where you can speak out loud without interruption or self-consciousness. Use quality headphones. Good headphones help you hear subtle pronunciation details and tone variations. Have a recording device ready. Recording yourself is optional but valuable for tracking progress. Keep water nearby. Shadowing is vocally demanding, and staying hydrated helps. The step-by-step shadowing process. Follow these steps for effective shadowing practice. Step 1. Listen first. Passive listening. Before shadowing, listen to your chosen audio 2 to 3 times without speaking. This familiarizes you with the content, vocabulary, and overall flow. Don't worry if you don't understand everything. You're building initial comprehension. Step 2. Read along if transcript available. If a transcript is available, read along while listening. This connects the sounds you hear with written words, reinforcing spelling-pronunciation relationships. Mark any difficult words or phrases. Step 3. Mumble shadowing. Start by mumble shadowing, quietly humming along with the audio, matching the rhythm and intonation without worrying about exact words. This focuses your attention on prosody and helps you get comfortable with the speaking pace. Step 4. Full shadowing. Now shadow completely, speaking out loud and trying to match the speaker as closely as possible. Don't pause the audio. Keep going, even if you stumble. The goal is to maintain the flow, not to achieve perfection. Step 5. Repeat multiple times. Shadow the same segment 5 to 10 times. With each repetition, you'll notice improvement in your accuracy, fluency, and confidence. This repetition is where the real learning happens. Step 6. Record and review. Optional. Record yourself shadowing and compare it to the original audio. This reveals specific areas for improvement, such as particular sounds you're struggling with or rhythm patterns you're missing. How long and how often? Consistency matters more than duration. Here's a realistic practice schedule. Beginners, 10 to 15 minutes daily, working with 1 short audio clip per session. Intermediate learners, 20 to 30 minutes daily, with 2 to 3 different clips. Advanced learners, 35 to 45 minutes daily with varied content types. Daily practice is ideal, but even 4 to 5 sessions per week will yield noticeable results. The key is making shadowing a regular habit rather than an occasional activity. Common challenges and how to overcome them. Every learner encounters obstacles when starting shadowing practice. Recognizing these challenges and knowing how to address them keeps you progressing. Challenge 1. The speaker is too fast. Native English speakers often talk very quickly, which can feel overwhelming initially. Solutions include use speed control features. Most audio players in YouTube allow you to slow down playback to 0.75x or 0.5x. Start slower and gradually increase speed as you improve. Choose slower content. Begin with English learning podcasts that naturally speak more slowly and clearly than conversational English. Focus on chunks, not words. Instead of trying to catch every word, focus on meaningful phrases and clauses. English speakers naturally group words into chunks, and training your ear to hear these chunks helps you keep up. Challenge 2. Pronunciation feels unnatural. Your mouth might feel awkward forming English sounds, especially if they don't exist in your native language. This is normal and improves with practice. Exaggerate initially. When shadowing, exaggerate the sounds and mouth movements. This trains your muscles more effectively than trying to speak minimally. Use a mirror. Watch your mouth while speaking and compare it to videos of native speakers pronouncing similar sounds. Break down difficult sounds. If specific sounds challenge you, like TH, R, or V, practice them in isolation before returning to full shadowing. Be patient with yourself. Physical habit change takes time. Your pronunciation will gradually feel more natural with consistent practice. Challenge 3. Feeling self-conscious. Speaking out loud, especially when mimicking someone else, can feel embarrassing. This self-consciousness often inhibits practice. Practice privately. Find a time and place where you're truly alone, your room, car, or during a walk with headphones. Reframe the awkwardness. Remind yourself that feeling awkward means you're outside your comfort zone, which is where learning happens. Join a community. Many online communities exist for shadowing practitioners. Knowing others are doing the same practice normalizes the experience. Focus on results. When you notice improvements in your speaking ability, the initial awkwardness feels worthwhile. Challenge 4. Difficulty understanding content. If you can't understand the basic meaning of what you're shadowing, the practice becomes mechanical rather than meaningful. Start with known content. Shadow material you've already read or understand from context, such as fairy tales, famous speeches, or news stories you followed. Use content with transcripts. Reading along initially builds comprehension before pure shadowing. Don't shadow passive vocabulary. Choose material using vocabulary you somewhat recognize, even if you wouldn't use those words yourself yet. Combine with other learning. Use shadowing alongside vocabulary study, not as a replacement for it. Advanced shadowing techniques. As you become comfortable with basic shadowing, incorporate these advanced variations to accelerate your progress. Emotion and character shadowing. Instead of just matching words in rhythm, try to capture the speaker's emotional tone and personality. If they sound excited, match that excitement. If they're telling a sad story, reflect that emotion. This deepens your connection to the language and makes your speech more authentic and engaging. Blind shadowing. Once you're comfortable with material you've practiced, try shadowing new audio cold, without any preliminary listening or reading. This tests your ability to process and produce English in real time, simulating actual conversation conditions. Video shadowing. Shadow while watching videos, paying attention to facial expressions, gestures, and body language. This adds a visual component that enhances understanding and makes your overall communication more natural. Selective shadowing. Focus on specific elements rather than everything at once. You might do one session focusing only on intonation patterns, another on linking sounds, and another on stress patterns. This targeted practice addresses specific weaknesses. Backward shadowing. Listen to a sentence, pause, and then try to repeat it from memory. This variation strengthens your auditory memory and challenges you differently than simultaneous shadowing. Tracking your progress. Improvement in shadowing isn't always immediately obvious, which can affect motivation. These methods help you recognize and celebrate your progress. Recording comparisons. Record yourself shadowing the same clip every 2 weeks. When you compare recordings, you'll hear tangible improvement in pronunciation, fluency, and confidence. This concrete evidence of progress is incredibly motivating. Fluency markers track specific improvements such as fewer pauses and hesitations, better matching of the speaker's speed, more natural intonation patterns, improved pronunciation of previously difficult sounds, and greater confidence and reduced self-consciousness. Conversation improvements are the ultimate test. Notice when you respond more quickly in English conversations. Use phrases and expressions you've shadowed. Speak with more natural rhythm and intonation, and feel more confident speaking English overall. Combining shadowing with other learning methods. Shadowing is powerful, but works best as part of a comprehensive learning approach. Integrate it with these complementary methods. Active listening practice. Beyond shadowing, spend time listening to English without speaking. Podcasts during commutes, English music, movies, or YouTube videos. This builds comprehension and exposes you to diverse speaking styles. Vocabulary building. Maintain a vocabulary journal of new words you encounter while shadowing. Review and practice these words in different contexts to deepen your understanding. Grammar study. While shadowing naturally improves your intuitive sense of grammar, some explicit grammar study helps you understand patterns you're absorbing through shadowing. Conversation practice. Apply what you're learning through shadowing in actual conversations with native speakers or fellow learners through language exchange apps, online tutors, or local conversation groups. Reading. Reading exposes you to language structures and vocabulary that you can then recognize and use when shadowing. It also improves your overall language comprehension. Best resources for shadowing practice. The internet offers countless resources perfect for shadowing practice. Here are some excellent starting points. Podcasts for English learners. English Learning for Curious Minds. Fascinating stories told in clear, accessible English with transcripts available. 6-Minute English, BBC. Short episodes, perfect for shadowing practice with transcripts and explanations. All Ears English. Conversational English with natural dialogue and cultural insights. The English We Speak, BBC. Very short episodes focusing on phrases and expressions. YouTube channels. TED Ed. Educational animated videos with clear narration and subtitles. Learn English with TV series. Clips from popular shows with shadowing exercises. Rachel's English. Detailed pronunciation lessons perfect for shadowing practice. English speeches. Famous speeches and presentations excellent for advanced shadowing. Audiobooks and apps. Audible. Vast collection of audiobooks in English across all genres and difficulty levels. Bilingua app. Shows text and audio simultaneously in multiple languages. Perfect for shadowing. SpeechLink. Specifically designed for shadowing practice with feedback options. YouTube with subtitle options. Virtually unlimited free content with controllable playback speed. Content for different interests. For business professionals, Harvard Business Review podcast, TED Talks on business topics. For technology enthusiasts, tech news podcasts, product review channels. For entertainment fans, movie analysis channels, celebrity interviews, and entertainment news. For science lovers, science podcasts like Radiolab and Scientific American. For children or beginners, animated stories, children's audiobooks, and simplified news broadcasts. Making shadowing a lifelong habit. The real power of shadowing emerges through consistent, long-term practice. Here's how to make it a sustainable part of your life. Create routine triggers. Attach shadowing to existing habits, like after my morning coffee, I'll shadow for 10 minutes, or during my commute, I'll practice shadowing. These trigger-based habits are more sustainable than relying on motivation alone. Vary your content. Keep practice interesting by rotating between different types of content, speakers, and topics. Variety prevents boredom and exposes you to diverse English styles. Join accountability groups. Find or create a shadowing accountability group where members share their progress, challenges, and favorite resources. Community support significantly increases practice consistency. Celebrate milestones. Acknowledge achievements like completing 30 consecutive days of shadowing, successfully shadowing increasingly difficult content, or receiving compliments on your improved pronunciation. Be patient and persistent. Language improvement isn't linear. Some days will feel easier than others. Accept that progress happens gradually and trust the process even when improvements aren't immediately obvious. Conclusion: your journey to English fluency. The shadowing technique offers a direct, efficient path to speaking English naturally and confidently. Unlike passive learning methods, shadowing actively trains all the skills you need for real conversation: listening comprehension, pronunciation, intonation, rhythm, and the ability to process English quickly without translation. Starting today, you can begin transforming your English speaking ability. All you need is audio from native speakers, a quiet space to practice, and commitment to consistent practice. Begin with just 10 to 15 minutes daily. Choose content that genuinely interests you and focus on progress rather than perfection. Remember that every fluent English speaker you admire was once a beginner who struggled with pronunciation and felt self-conscious speaking. The difference between them and beginners who never improve is simple. They practiced consistently and didn't give up when progress felt slow. Your journey to English fluency doesn't require expensive courses, moving to an English-speaking country, or innate talent. It requires a proven technique, shadowing, and your daily commitment to practice. The voice you're shadowing today will become your confident English voice tomorrow. So grab your headphones, choose your first shadowing audio, and take that first step. Your fluent English speaking future is waiting, one shadowed phrase at a time. You've got this.